All right, welcome to 3D Print Farm version 4.0 and the video walkthrough and tutorial series to go along with it. This will be a multiple part series with every element of the sheet getting its own video, or maybe I'll combine a couple if they're smaller. But the hope is that this will be an aid for anybody that is interested in the sheet or who purchased the sheet, to help them in setting it up so that they have a profitable print farm for themselves, and they know what their costs are, what their profit is, and things like that. So the screen I'm going to be working on is to my left here, so that is where I will be looking. But let's get right into it. So the first sheet that we will be on when you first purchase the spreadsheet, it will open up to this farm data sheet. And this is kind of the foundation of your print farm. It's where you kind of put in a lot of the starting variables, I guess, for your farm, and it kind of grows from there. So first of all, I want to point out this show hide notes. So when you open the sheet, it should open with the notes on, and there's lots of notes throughout the whole sheet. So if you ever have a question on what something is, more than likely you can hover over that cell or click the show hide notes, and there'll be a note for it, for you to read, and hopefully it'll give you a little more insight to it. The show hide notes button is also throughout the sheet, so anywhere where you are, more than likely there's a button there. You can click it and it'll turn them off, and obviously clean up the visual part of the spreadsheet and the template for you. So first thing we're going to do is hit the FDM button here. So right now this is an FDM only print farm sheets. We hope to get resin soon, but right now we're FDM only. So turn that on, and that essentially turns the template on for you. Gets everything going, gets everything started. Next thing we're going to do is select how many printer brands you want to use that you have. So kind of my first pro tip here with this sheet is don't use these as printer brands. Anything that's yellow can be edited. So Excel needs a name, so we call them printer brand. It'll probably be updated in a future update, but they are editable at this point. So what I like to do is, rather than having 3 printer brands, I actually name these printer rack. So printer rack number 1, and then I do, printer rack, printer rack number 2, and so on. That way you're not committing yourself to like one brand for that whole page, because you can have every one of these that's turned on gets you a spot for 10 unique printers. So, it's kind of, I don't know many people who have 10 unique models of one brand, right? Like somebody might have 50 Ender 3s, but that's just one model. So the way the spreadsheet works is unique models. So you have room for 30 unique printer models. So I do rack because then I can mix match what brands are on the rack. And just to give you a glimpse into the future, once you turn that on, you can click this button here, and then you can see where you can list your printer brands. So you can see on this rack, I have minis, I have regular Prusas, and I have Ender 3 V2s. So this is where you put the brand, and then down here you put the printer count of each. So this rack itself is holding 8 printers for me. So that's a pro tip. I like doing that. Printer rack, I think it works well. Next thing we're doing is we're going to turn on the filament brands we use. Again, you can name these filaments anything you want. You can do any brand you want. So if you have your own filament, you can name it your filament like I did here. Maybe we also use Overture, and maybe we also use Prusament. Our next section here is our kilowatt per hour electricity charge. This is going to be a charge that you're going to get from your utility bill, from your local electricity provider, and it should be listed on there. I would check it regularly. We were at 1.37 for a long time. It just updated to 0.140, so our electricity rate has gone up where I am, so I want to make sure I am accounting for that. In the end, we're talking pennies, but it's good to be accurate. So that's what you put in there. Filament waste, this is an interesting variable and input. I tend to just read this one because I think it's better than me doing it on the fly. So filament waste. If you would like to account for filament waste per print, put that percentage here. For example, if you get a failure 1 out of 10 prints, you could put a filament waste of 10%. And the 9 successful prints would make up for the 1 failure. So if this was 10%, and say your filament per print was $1, what the sheet would do is it would automatically adjust your material cost to $1.11. That way, you did 9 successful prints, and then on that 10th one, when you had that failure, those 9 successful had an extra 11 cents, which equals 99 cents, to make up for that failed print. So whatever your failure rate is, put that in here. If you don't check your failure rate, I would recommend you do so. It's a good thing to have. But I would put just the average failure of all your products in there. I keep mine at 5. I don't print too complicated of things, so my failure rate is low. I actually think I'm probably even lower than this. But we'll leave it there at 5. Packaging is next. Again, yellow boxes means you can change them. So maybe you have a combination of bubble envelopes and boxes. You could name your first thing bubble. Whatever you wanted to do. We're going to leave it as boxes. That's what we ship. So you can name your packaging and then also the cost for your packaging. Now, keep in mind, this should include all costs associated with sending that package out. So your box, your bubble wrap, your sticker, your thank you card, anything that goes into that box to complete the order should be included in this cost. So we got, ours is pretty cheap. We got cheap boxes. I can pick them up in person where I'm at, so I have that advantage. If you don't, maybe your price is a little bit more. Shipping markup, I believe Etsy does this, maybe even Shopify. They allow you to charge a markup on your shipping, whether it's calculated or fixed. You can put in there a dollar markup, and then if the calculated rate is $3.50, Etsy will charge them $4.50, and you will pocket that dollar. We don't use it. I just ship stuff out for cost, but it's there if you want it. And then the estimated shipping cost. The model assumes that you use calculated shipping. I shouldn't say that. The model assumes you do not profit on shipping. So if this is 0, it assumes you don't profit. If you do profit on shipping, whatever you profit, you want to put in the shipping markup. So this should be whatever your regular average cost to ship is. That's cost, not profit. So we're at about $4.27, depending on where it's going. If it's real close, we sometimes get under 4, but if it's out in Hawaii, we're at like 5 something. So but this is close to our average, so that's what we put there. Next thing here is we have 5 spots for different discounts. So if you want to see what the profit will be if you run different sales at different times of the year. Maybe your Christmas discount is a 15%, but your regular discount is 10. You could put 10 in this one, 15 in this one. I'm zoomed in so it hides it, but you get the point. So that's your discount section. Next, we have the sales platform. If you purchase the full suite, all 4 will be unlocked. If you purchase a la carte, you will only be able to click whatever sales channel you bought. So if you only bought Etsy, you only be able to click Etsy, and these will be grayed out. This is the full suite, so we will click all of them because we will see them in the future. And that is the farm data in a nutshell. This info, the farm information down here, is mostly for you at this point. We do have future plans of building out a reports section that will feed this info, so we can create nice headers and things like that, so you can actually print to PDF nice reports that have your farm information on it. If you ever wanted to do something like try to go get lending for printers or present your stuff, maybe, who knows. But that's a future update that is to come. But for now, this is for your own use. So that's where we'll end it for this video. This is the farm data tab, and we will see you guys in the next one.